And our esteemed viewers at home, good morning.
Good to see you. Let's start with you, Barrister. How does this actually come to you? Is it strange? One of these things we've been hearing since last week. Magu, he was accused, he was suspended. Buhari brought in Umar. Should we say that we are winning the war if the hunter is now being hunted, you know, or it's a case of Magu being a scapegoat?
Well, let me start with my own overview of the whole saga. I will put them in the following 4 lines. That the present travail of Magu is, 1, a confirmation of the legal aphorism that whoever is high in life, the law is always above. You could be tall economically, you could be tall socially, you could be tall in terms of your gender, but the law is above. Number 2, assuming that Magu is involved in this kind of saga, what is the positions of the law? The law is that no matter how popular an allegation is, the person is presumed to be innocent. That's the truth, that we cannot shy away from it. So now, in furtherance of that, we have to take a cue from the fact that this government is doing everything to give Nigerian government a good image in terms of commitment to policy and manifestos, in terms of sincerity to their promises, that like Yoruba will say, when we fail to fight our maternal siblings, our paternal siblings will not respect our policy. I think when government is saying this, they are sending signal to everybody. And again, they were trying to lay the foundation for reorientation of Nigerian masses, particularly our children, that corruption is not the only aim you can target in government. Be a good ambassador of your country, whatever position you find yourself.
Now, some people also say that Magu is being politically tried. I mean, you have said it comprehensively. You said he's not guilty yet. He's still under investigation and all of that. But some people are bringing political undercurrents to this.
It's not that assertion cannot be correct in view of antecedents. Now, in 2008, Magu was suspended. You may recall that it has been suspended in 2008. This government was not the government in force. And then you recall that it was Ibrahim Lamudi that absorbed Magu back into the system. In fact, he was comprehensively reprimanded by the Police Service Commission before he was finally, absorbed back. So the issue is about the consistencies of the present administration, that we promise the Nigerian masses to fight corruption. And whoever is high, to us, the law is above. Recall that this same government started with one secretary to the government of the Federation, Babashir Lawal. Remember that this same government, upon a petition and a panel being set up, headed by Vice President, quickly, relieved Babashir Lawal upon indictment by that panel. It's not new to this government to convict their own, even though they belong to the same government. The government has not found it difficult, to call a spade a spade. So, but beyond that, in law, like I said, the man has constitutional presumption of innocence, and not only that, the government is trying to go somewhere, and that is to determine the legal status of Magu. Magu is not an ordinary employee whose appointment can be terminated through ordinary letter, or a 1 month notice in lieu of salary, no, or in lieu of notice. No, they have to follow the due process of law. And the law is clear. Section 153 of 1999 Constitution is clear. Section 159 is clear. In fact, Section 318 of 1999 Constitution is clear on the positions and the procedures to determine the legal status of public servant. The man is a servant, serving the public. So whatever the allegation at this stage is presumed to be innocent.
But do you think, so far, due process is being followed? I mean, the gentleman, let me describe him as that, was on his way to work, and then some ununiformed security men accosted him, took him to the presidential villa for interrogation. Do you think that is due process?
Thank you. The law has not limited arrest to a particular place. except during the court session. And then the Senate during their section. Apart from those two places, that have now the law has not placed arrest to a particular place. And beyond that, the Yoruba has a saying that when you are happy, do not make law. You see, Magu is the masterpiece of this kind of arrest. You see, that was why it is, when you are in a position, make sure that you comply with norms. Adherence to norms, order, and legal ethics is very important. Remember that many people have been arrested by this same Magu in circumstances, in dramatic circumstances.
In the same
Circumstances.
So, I mean, I think that I've learned a new word this morning. It's the masterpiece of this kind of arrest.
Now, let us,
let's go to Mr. Shonke now. There's no way you can remove the hands of Mr. President from all of this. People have also accused him of being too slow, of not reacting swiftly, but should we say Buhari is back with his elements?
Well, I can't say categorically that the president is back with his elements. I mean, if we try to see through the history, when he first came in as the head of state, what he was able to do swiftly then, what his government was able to achieve swiftly then, because some people believe it was his deputy that was actually doing the work then. But from what we can see now, we might not be able to say with a word of finality until we see further actions on further circumstances that is related to this. But if you want my opinion, I think the president took so long a time to act on Magu's case, in my own opinion. I mean, this was an officer that you sent for confirmation of the Senate twice. It was rejected twice. I think the last rejection was 2017. I mean, that was enough time for any serious president who really wants to look at it from the perspective of corruption is a main point of campaign for me, to quickly act and either clear Magu or confirm the allegations that have been leveled against him. But it took the president like 3 years to actually be able to take a decision on that. I think that is too long. We could have gained a lot of ground in the corruption fight if something had been done at least in the last 2 or 3 years.
But again, now that he suspended him, does that not also absolve him of
you know, as we always say, it's better late than never. I mean, he's acting now. A lot of people are commending him, and like the barrister said, to a large extent, they are trying to follow due process. I mean, he's a very senior officer of the government, and the panel is being set up to investigate him. I think the report of the panel is even coming out little by little now. We're beginning to get feelers. So I want to believe that the government has tried to follow due process. And like he said, he's still presumed innocent, even after the panel, until the court of law declares him, culpable. We really cannot judge him now. So he has a right to now defend himself and prove all the allegations against him, whether they are right before a competent court of law.
But there's something suspicious about EFCC's bosses over the years. They've always ended the same way. Is it that consistently you've been employing or appointing wrong people to head EFCC, or it's a systemic issue?
In my opinion, I think we had a provision in the EFCC Act that kind of limited where the president can select who is going to head the EFCC from. And in the past, we've seen people from the police heading EFCC, and you and I will, even from reports that we have at our disposal, the police force is one of the most corrupt agencies that we have in the country. And what we also need to appreciate is the fact that most of our systems that we operate in Nigeria is so wild that even if a good man gets there, it's almost going to be difficult for you to stand straight. So I really don't envy the president in selecting who heads EFCC, because it's a difficult challenge. Whether you want to pick from the retired police officers, retired security, people who retire from the security agencies, or you want to,
you probably want to pick from among the civilians.
Even if you want to pick from the civilians, I believe if the president had that wider net, he probably will be able to pick somebody that over time has developed a reputation that people know and people can vouch for. But I mean, somebody that have gone through the rank and file of the police with what we know, I mean, it's going to be difficult.
Master, should that be sacrosanct? Picking EFCC boss constitutionally from the police family?
Well, that takes us to one of the allegations levied against the battled EFCC acting chairman, Ibrahim Magu, with the tag Magu's Boys. It has become almost a tradition, a custom in police hierarchy for the echelon to have boys. You recall that in Ogun State, it takes maturity between the former commissioner of Ogun State and the former AIG, Zone 2, to manage security in Ogun State. Because immediately the AIG was promoted to that office, he created ZIA, Obada, immediately. And before you knew it, ZIA Obada nearly took over the entire security outfit of Ogun State, which is, a kind of conflict between the functions of the commissioner of police. So the question now is, who was in charge of Ogun State? Was it the AIG, Zone 2, or Commissioner of Police, Ogun State? It's a wrong orientation from the police that wherever they find themselves, what they do first is to establish their own network under the guise of boys. And then before you know it, a lot of atrocities are being committed. Recall what happened to ZIA recently when the footballer was killed in Shagamu. I want to tell you, if the former AIG had not established his boys, that guy would not have died the way he died. And then I want to believe that some of these allegations committed by the so-called boys sometimes may not necessarily be with the consent of Magu, but because he consented to their existence, their operations. So it is pretty difficult for him to absolve himself for whatever they are doing. And then, there's another allegations of other who are not boys, not being promoted, not being recommended for promotions.
Okay, so we are the Magu boys in the EFCC. Anyway, we'll take this break. We'll be back shortly in the next 1-2 minutes to continue the discussion. We are looking at the Ibrahim Magu saga as test case for Nigeria's economic and financial crimes system. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Bribery and corruption is illegal. It could hinder the economic growth of a nation. If caught, culprit will end up in jail. Say no to bribery and corruption.
I just want your papers, please.
Sir.
Salary don't enter. Eh? Yes, so. And one day never even reach self. Na salary plenty, oh. No wonder I no gree collect roja from my hand. Shut up, sir. I'm here to bail my younger brother.
Happen.
With good laws,
proper funding,
training, and cooperation.
If it happen.
also joined by another legal practitioner on the program this morning, Barrister Kayode Aderemi is also in the studio with us. Good morning, Barrister Aderemi.
Good morning.
Good to see
Good morning.
you. Barrister Ogusonwo and Mr. Shorunke have tried to look at, I guess when you came in, you also listened to a bit of the things they actually said. Is it really about the man Magu or about the system, actually? The whole corruption cycle?
All right. Well, that's almost an unfortunate question. Not because it's coming from you. It's not about you. It's about the question. Just like you asked, you Magu about the system.
Yeah.
Because such questions ought not to be coming up. When something is wrong, really. And some would say that it's political. Some would say you stepped on big toes. But if you stepped on big toes and you have clean bill, all right, then nothing can be held against you, really. So whether it is about Magu or it's about how it's about the protocol, for me it makes no difference. I'd rather sit or settle with the fact that it's about the system. If his hands are very clean, then those shouting, this and that about him would have their fingers to bite eventually. So clearly it appears something is wrong, really. So whether it is about him or not is not, I think we should start de-emphasizing such questions in Nigeria. It should really boil down to whether or not the person has done what has been alleged against him or her. You see, nothing happens to the former CJN. As much as I'm a lawyer, we're the same temple of justice, of course. He was the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The answers he gave to some of the questions that were levied against him were not palatable. He could not explain how some monies got into his account. How can an adult say that? So I'm hoping we'll get to a point whereby journalists will stop asking, is it about Kayode Aderemi, or is it because someone is against him, or because he did, that shouldn't be a question. If you are wrong, you are wrong. So if you are wrong and people are hunting you, let them hunt you.
But in this case, he's still under trial. He's still under investigation. And so we can't comprehensively or conclusively say he's guilty of all of those allegations.
Well, thank God you said under investigation, not trial. Trial begins when in fact, for a point of arraignment, I may want to say, but more strictly speaking, when witnesses are being called. All right, psychologists have said that it will take a mad person, or it is madness or insanity, to repeat a thing the same way and expect a different result. Definitely, the issue of being innocent or to prove guilty has to change in Nigeria. That's my very honest opinion. It's not working anymore. It's not working anymore. The idea of, we oftentimes sheepishly apply laws in Nigeria. If, God forbid, not me, if someone has raped, for example, and is an adult, and he comes clear and clean to say, I have raped, or I have kidnapped, what is the presumption of innocence in that one again? I mean, for countries that do that, I love history a lot. I love to study how things begin. That thing started where that concept started where people started getting punished for what they did not do. My learned friend is here. He will tell you that in law we say that it's better for 99 guilty persons to go free than to punish one innocent person. So it is when the guilt of someone is not certain. It was when they were debating that the idea of section 36.5 came up, which says that every person shall be presumed innocent until he is proved guilty. I had a trial last week. I will try and change the facts so as not to make the man feel bad. The man came and said, they've charged me for armed robbery. He said, lawyer, I'm a rob. I said, are you saying this because the prison people, correctional people were with heavy guns behind him? I said, are you saying this because of these guns we are seeing? I said, they can't shoot you here. You are beside the court. This man should be, what I saw his age, he should be in his early 40s. So he was not coerced, he was not forced, he was not under any undue influence. He has spent some years in prison. So there was no reason at all to waste resources of the court. Judges will not sit down and be saying, yeah, call your witness, right? Presume innocent. In fact, our law says, and I don't know why that should continue, Our law even says, even if the man says, my Lord, I am guilty, the law says, right, I am not guilty. Because of capital offense, really. That should change in Nigeria.
That's another matter entirely. And I think it's even good this is coming from a legal practitioner. This one, you don't think so, Dominic? I think it's that's another matter entirely. Probably we'll have to call you guys back. Look at that. Mr. Sholuke, with the way things are going, some people are skeptical, about the whole thing because we've seen issues like this in the past swept under the carpet. Are you confident this is something that will see light?
I am confident to a large extent that Magu is not going back to that office from what we have seen. What I'm not confident about is whether Magu will be prosecuted for all the breaches he committed or not. Because it's something else for you to remove him from office. It's another thing to take him through the trials and ensure that the court decides if he's guilty of all those allegations or not. We've seen a lot of it in our country, where you just remove people from office and that ends the case. And I think that is not justice. If somebody has stolen or alleged to have stolen, because of that you took him away from the office, maybe suspension or even dismissal, prosecution, I believe, should follow, to serve as a deterrent to other people that this crime, the society frowns at it, and for the person to actually pay for whatever crime that he or she has committed. But I mean, I don't want to mention names, but we know a lot of public officials that they just take them away from the office and that ends the case. So I'm confident that Magu might lose his job, but whether the government will follow it up to prosecution or not is what I'm not confident about.
Dominic.
Now, the presidency came out to say that at the wake of Magu's arrest and investigation and then interrogation and the rest of them, the presidency said that it's an indication, arresting and then interrogating Magu for corruption allegations is an indication that the administration is not tolerating corruption and that everybody, or no matter who you are in the government, you are not above the law once there is any allegation of corruption against you or against the person is going to face the full wrath of the law and dance to the tune. Do you think that is what it is? Because when you think of some government officials that have actually been alleged of one corrupt act or the other, and then the government looked away, do you think what the presidency has come out to say on this is really?
You know, like I said initially, I'm trying not to preempt the presidency. But if we want to look at experience that we've had in the past.
By past, are you talking about this administration?
This administration, yes, that we have had in some recent past about government officials being alleged and being given what we call public trial or media trial. And at the end of the day, the noise goes above the roof and just like gravity comes down again and that ends it. So I'm not saying that the presidency will not, but I want to see the president go ahead and get to that stage of prosecuting all those allegations, showing us that either Magu is guilty for what is being alleged or is innocent. For example, you have taken a man through this media trial. All those things that we have, all the allegations, we have seen them in the media. I have not seen the report of the presidential panel, but at least we've read the allegation of the Attorney General of the Federation that he has leveled against Magu and all the petitions. But what we're saying is, all these allegations, after this investigation, what is next? So I have not seen the desire or the will, in most cases of the government, the present government, to go ahead and prosecute. And even when they do, I don't know if it's because of our judicial system, the trial can go for
years.
Years.
Now,
8 years, 10 years, the evidences are tampered with, the witnesses are tampered with. At the end of the day, you might not even get a conviction.
Now, when Barrister Kayode Aderemi was responding to Biodun, he talked about the fact that it's not all about Magu or the office, really. It is all about whether Magu has done what is right or what is wrong. And that if he has stepped on big toes and he comes out, you know, with a clean bill, that does it. But is it possible, looking at the system, what Nigeria is today, is it possible for you to step on big toes and still come out with a clean bill and escape such allegations and then like that?
Well, it's possible. It's possible because lies can fly for years, but within some seconds, truth will overtake the strength and the journey of lies for years. It's very simple. It's just that live by your own words, live by your conduct. Many people have been persecuted in the past. Now, after several years, they emerged.
After several years?
Yes. You know, what we are saying is that, you know, you started by saying that, okay, let's assume without considering that he stepped on toes. Which toes? That's the question. I've not seen him as somebody who has stepped on anybody's toes. Rather, when
you heard of the case of auctioning of some assets.
That is the allegations. One of the allegations levied against him, not, you know, offending. For instance, it would be wrong to assert that, oh, because he's doing his official duty, he has offended so politician. A man must perform. For instance, as a lawyer, we offend people when we appear against them, but it's a wrong mentality. We are only doing our official job. That's our profession. That's our calling. So as the chairman of EFCC or acting chairman, naturally, the office must prosecute some people. Ribadu was there. Many other people were there before him. But they must perform their statutory functions. So it's not about his personality, his person. It's about the office. Tomorrow, Magu will not be there. Another person will be there.
In fact, ironically, if you look at Nigeria, I mean, you also have to look at the sympathy of the public here, because whether we like it or not, since independence, I've been hearing of stoves, you know, since I was born, you know, and I don't think in other climes I hear of people who say, oh, he stepped on big tools and or small tools and all of that. But we also know that there are tools, in quotes now, in Nigeria.
Okay.
You know, we've seen cases in the past. I mean, let's even go outside, you know, corruption issues.
Okay. Don't let us. My own answer is this.
Yeah.
You see, I want to see if we were to go by that saying, I want to see our society as running away from the truth. I want to see our society as a society that does not encourage being honest, being integrity driven. Let me tell you, in Yoruba, there's an adage I have always been attacking. You cannot say that Olóòtọ́ ìlú, Olóòtá ìlú is they are self-contradictory. You cannot say a man that stands for honesty is an enemy of the nation.
But is that not what has played out on some occasion, or most occasions?
Most occasions. That is. In fact, you see, biblically, Jesus Christ wouldn't have been crucified if people accepted him as being honest. Let me tell you, Islamically, Muhammad wouldn't have been sent away, would have left Mecca to Medina if people had accepted him. But after many years of his demise, they came back to celebrate them. It's wrong. The Bible crown it all, that it is after your death we will celebrate you. It's wrong.
Now, let us look at, okay, let's be categorical here. Magu, I mean, the FCC and the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. So many things have been said, it is being said that they are dragging so many things.
Yes.
Sometimes the Attorney General of the Federation will say he wants to take over a particular case, and then the EFCC will say no, it is in their jurisdiction to prosecute that case and see it to conclusion. Yes. Auction of assets, yes. Recovered loot, and the rest of them.
Yes, two things.
Whose responsibility really?
Thank you.
Is it to prosecute corrupt people who have been alleged of corruption?
Thank you.
And then to auction assets that are recovered from corrupt elements?
As far back as 1951, Lord Simon and Lord Denny, in the celebrated case of Mark Foy, they have said it that when there's a lacuna in the legislation. It is not the job of the court to fill in the gaps. The problem is legislation. The legislation, the National Assembly made law empowering the EFCC to prosecute certain crimes without any external intervention. But the truth is that by the 1999 Constitution, the Attorney General of the Federation is the chief law officer. He has the power to, continue or discontinue. So the two acts, if you look at it holistically, there's a kind of conflict on, but generally the EFCC is under the Attorney General of the Federation, whether we like it or not. He's the chief law officer. So what the National Assembly ought to have done is to harmonize the position of EFCC vis-a-vis the office of the Attorney General of the Federation.
Okay, now, when it continually boils down to personalities now, do we now say that we don't need the EFCC? Coming from his argument.
We need EFCC, even though I do not understand the total purport of the question. We certainly need the EFCC. Why? Their name tells us why we need them. They are an agency set up for financial crimes and the likes. But I'd like to respond to a few questions you asked earlier. You see, it's a biblical injunction that before you build a house, count the cost first. Before you go to war, assess your adversary and see whether you are up to it. If, for example, there was a conflict between America and Nigeria, and they ask me, if I were Buhari, should we go to war? I would just tell him, you could just come and take my head off. There's no point fighting. There's no point. Because the first thing they will do is they can just, all of our internet, even these people viewing us at home and everything, with the support of the US, if they shut off the part of the satellite that feeds Nigeria, Africa, we are gone. Imagine, how would you have called me to call for this program? I'm sure you called them, you didn't go to the houses. So imagine, with one button, all phone calls in Nigeria can be off. All TV stations, imagine that. No WhatsApp, no Facebook, no phone call. That's war on its own. I mean, we are finished. How will the army communicate? So it would be foolish to go to war with America, for instance, or France, Germany, and the likes. Same thing applies here. I think that the Yoruba proverb that my Leonard friend said then, that Olu Utoni or Tailu, you see, I do not see it that way. That's the fact. But it's a process. You see, you cannot, it takes a lot to cause a change. Most times it takes blood. People die. That's a fact. All over the world, check it. He has more Muhammad than Jesus Christ. It's a price to pay. About 2 months ago, this I was tear gassed. I did not cry afterwards. No, it's what I signed up for. You want to stand for a structural systemic change, it will cost you something. It will cost you blood at times. Several times in Abeokuta, police officers have pointed guns at me. Maybe they are hearing me now. We will gun you down. I said, try. But if your first blood doesn't kill me, you will die first. That's why, from anywhere or down to on the roads, they've tried to kill me. It is a price to pay. We are celebrating the likes of my grandfather, I will call him, Shwole Soyinka, identifying your blessed memory, Fela, Beko, where their life is. Many times they were in the prison. Many times. It's just that Ojusen Lansing. I will have been in prison at least 50 times. But I'm try. I'm sure Dominic will not keep quiet. I'm sure today will not keep quiet. It will go on Facebook, so they are more careful now. If I was doing what I'm doing now, about 15, 20, 30 years ago, I would be in prison many times. I would have been putting my brush and toothpaste in my car too. But now there is, if police now slash me now, most likely to be on the, people will be recording. If not for, it is a price I'm paying. I must not complain. I am either there or not. Oh, they call me talk to now. So for those that say they want to stand as crusaders of justice, understand this. It comes with a price. You can't be like others. You can't enjoy what others are enjoying. If you want to shut your eyes to evil, beautiful, you can go fine. But if you want to see evil and say this evil must stop, then there's a price to pay. That is a fact. I try to count. I don't know it all. I'm still a small boy, by the way. I'm learning. But whenever Is it trace officers? Is it VIO? Is it police? Is it soldier? In this Abeokuta, they have harassed me many times. I'm speaking on national television. And that's a fact. I know it's a, I tell my wife at times, if I go out, I don't come back. Don't cry too much. I've tried my bit. Continue with my children. I've told her, she's hearing me now. I'm not saying I would die now. If I die now, fine. My own job is I do my part and I move on. Nigeria needs to be better than what it is. Yes. So it's a price to pay. It's a fact. But in a place like America, one evolve the bench. One day we will get there. And until we get there, we won't keep quiet.
So it's an evolutionary
and I think
it's a must.
It's a must.
We must pass. It's a phase. It's a cross we must carry.
So,
and the choice.
I think can we say where are we at what stage are we in that phase?
I think it requires clarifications. Exactly. Yes. It requires.
Have we even gotten to the point of crawling? That's the point.
Or we've not even bettered the stage.
No. I mean, he just said something. You can remember if you last sang a song, Papa did for house, Mama did for house, and no one died. Remember how many years they sang that song?
Yeah.
How many Nigerians are willing to pay the sacrifice that my brother just spoke about? I think that is the reality. You see people that are supposed to stand up for truth, stand up for justice, they easily chicken out.
Why is Nigeria? I mean, okay, good. We are getting a lot of inspiration from the last song. He sang another one about religion, pastor, imam, and all of that. Yeah, things are really getting worse.
Yeah.
Why is Nigeria this way?
What the billion-dollar question?
Well, in as much as we have accepted that our colonial master is the United Kingdom, what happened in 1851 happened in the history of Nigeria when there was issue of the president being humiliated at the floor of the National Assembly. As I told people that this simply confirmed that we are following United States of America and United Kingdom, who can sink their politics. Because in 1851, that was what happened that led to the story of Julius Caesar that was killed on the floor of the National Assembly in the US. Must we follow every negative trends from our colonial masters? I can't understand why Nigerian politics is being played childishly. I can't understand. It is not a must that if so story as passed in the history of America or United, it is not a must that we have our own custom, we have our own traditions, which has been confirmed severally. So to me,
add something.
I've not seen any reason why Nigerians should not move ahead according to their own custom and traditions.
Okay, now customs and traditions.
If I may quickly add something to this. You see, I've tried and tried, and I'm still trying to understand Nigerian evolution system, political evolution. In my opinion, we are not anywhere where we ought to be, but we are better off.
Better off?
Yes. How we were. Faster, how we were, of course, not how we started. In the 60s, things were good when we had the Western region, and the likes, of course. After the Awolowos and the likes, Azikiwe's, everything paused. But the same thing I'm saying on TV now, in fact, you can't even try it on OGTV then. I mean, 20 years ago, they will shut down your TV station. Can they do it now? They can't. If I tried this thing I'm saying 15 years ago, as I'm leaving your studio, BSS will pick me up. They will beat me to a pulp. Can they they are hearing me now. Can they try it today? Can you arrest me? I mean, they will want to try it. Adeyemi was on TV, he said some things, controvert me with stronger facts. They won't try it. So it's like a child. A child tries to walk. It's like I watch my baby growing up. She will fall many times. I wish I could help the child. But if I try to, it's like a butterfly trying to break from a cocoon. They have said if you try to, it takes a lot of trouble to break off a cocoon. But if you split the cocoon, butterfly will not have enough strength to fly when it eventually breaks, when you break it free. But the struggle it goes through, very strenuous, to break the cocoon is the strength it will need to leap, spread forth her wings and fly. That's how it is. We are evolving. It is slow, but we are getting better. That's why one of the biggest blessings is social media. Things have all these, was there something like social media trial before? There was not even social media. So they can't do social media trial. Now we know, we have not seen Magu, I've heard what he did. Is it because I went to Abuja? No. So if you watch, I don't want to mention TV stations. I mean, some things about Akpabio was said yesterday that I never could have known. So now information, the world is like a global village. So we are getting better gradually. It's a phase of, there is nothing we can do about it. Mention big countries today. I challenge every one of us. Singapore, China, US. Yes, look at China. They have to say that you commit, you steal public funds, you die. Why? Because they were stealing it. Same thing for America. It was not bad. Same thing for, mention any country. It was bad before it became good. We will be good in this our time by the grace of God. Nigeria will be better.
Okay, in this our time will be good. So I close it, Mr. Shoruke. You share his optimism?
I share his optimism, but I would have wished for at least a faster growth than what we're having. I mean, we have all the nations with their experience. We've had our own experiences, which I think we ought to have learned from. I mean, if I have a toddler who is learning to walk, and it's taking him 5 years to learn to walk, I mean, Yoruba people will say you need to go and check whether there's something else behind it. I mean, so I think, like you said, we are all optimistic. I mean, Nigerians will always be optimistic that tomorrow will be better. But the reality is we need to start working to make that tomorrow better.
Okay, so your final words on this issue?
Well, my final words is, as a parting shot for the people at home watching us, whatever position you are occupying, remember that you are living to put down your own legacy that you want people to remember you for. Do your best and leave the rest for the generation to come. Always do your best. Aspire to do your best. Nothing short of best is expected of us in a nation building. No any other explanation than to offer our best and to always remember that the only way we can build our nation is to exemplify that good image, good name of a nation building.
Okay, this is a topic that we wouldn't have exhausted in 3 hours, but in 55 minutes we'll try to also do our best and we'll try to leave the rest for posterity. We can never tell, maybe someone has been touched with the interview today. If you have been touched positively, go and evangelize, spread it, and Nigeria will become better. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. Pastor Aderemi, thank you so much for coming. Mr. Shoruke, good to have you still in this.
Thank you.
Morning. Pastor also thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure.
You have to go.
Yes, we have to go. We thank you also so much for staying tuned to the program since 6:30 when we opened till this present moment. Thank you so much. That's the size of the program. Newdawn for today, the 13th day in the month of July 2020. I'm Dominic Agbeha. On behalf of my colleague Piotr Kalabi, we are saying have a wonderful day.
SEMEC International Schools. For the acquisition of sound education and morals is the need for the establishment